Hello and welcome to This Week in Gunpla and Plamo, our weekly show where we cover all the latest Gunpla kits and also other plant model industries, news and events as well. So if you'd like to know the latest news on everything plant modeling, do subscribe to our channel. Now the first kit that I want to talk about is the Fumina Hoshino high grade kit. It's finally out in Japan and we already started to see some of the first impression of the kit itself. I have to say this kit, in terms of articulation, it looks fantastic, and of course I think most fans will probably be very pleased with the three very different facial expression included with the kit. The one that amused me the most is of course the shocked expression of Fumina Hoshino. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of toy photography based on that facial expression, and maybe hopefully next year GBWC there'll be some entries with Fumina Hoshino in that facial expression as well. So one thing that was quite unique with this kit is they actually come with a very small petite guy, so I don't think that you actually need to build the petite guy itself, but it does look kind of small and kind of cute. So maybe someone's gonna build a diorama of Fumina Hoshino and an army of bear guy. Maybe we'll see, right? Let's see what happens. So for those of you who have yet to build any Fumina Hoshino model kit, there used to be one Figuras Lao series that was out sometime late last year or early last year, and I think that was one of my favorite kit because of the texture of the kit itself. But let us know what you think. Will you guys be getting this kit? Because it is coming out right now in October already in Japan, so it should be reaching out to other markets very soon. There are quite a lot of new announcements by Bandai this week, so much so that I was actually quite shocked by the amount of new model kits coming out, not only from the Gundam franchise but also some from the Evangelion, Kamen Rider and also the old mecha kits. But staying with the Build Diverse series, there is one kit that I really like, and that is the Master Grade 1/100 scale Hyaku Shiki race Cain. It's coming out in May 2021. It's a very beautiful looking kit, and so it's priced 13,000 yen and 200 yen as well. This is one very expensive kit. I think by the time it reaches your market, once you factor in the shipping costs and also the duty and tax and whatnot, it's probably going to be an additional 30-40% on top of that price. But in terms of the overall finishing for the Hyaku Shiki, I really dig the metallic gold finish. If you guys have built the Master Grade Hyaku Shiki, you will know that they actually have a muted gold finish for the Master Grade. At least there is different gold finishing for the Hyaku Shiki, though there are ones that is very shiny metallic finish on the high grade kit. So that one I don't really fancy because it just looks a little bit too bright, and it doesn't really have that deep dark 24 karat gold kind of a finishing. But it does seem that Bandai somehow has managed to replicate the 24K gold, just like the one on the Phoenix Unit 3 Perfect Grade on this actual model kit itself. Beautiful looking kit, to be very frank, but unfortunately due to the expensive price ticket, it's something that I need to miss. The one that I was actually quite surprised that Bandai released was the high grade 144 scale flight liner unit. This guy is actually quite affordable, and I was kind of wish that Bandai would release this as a normal release. 1,430 yen, very affordable, and it's a quite nice add-on to our mobile suit Gunpla kits, right? You can add it on as a flight pack, and unfortunately Bandai decided to make this as a premium Bandai release. Relatively affordable, yes, but unfortunately for most of us that's out of the Bandai market, we will not be able to secure this guy. So if you fit this with the GM mobile suits itself, yeah, it does looks very good. So this is part of the MSD and Origin series design. In non-Gunpla releases, I'm actually quite glad that Bandai is continuing pushing new releases for the old mecha anime franchise, such as this. This is the Steel Jig. I have not seen this anime before itself, so for me, I can't really relate to what is the appeal of the mobile suit, or sorry, the mecha itself. But given the design of infinitism design language they have continue to pursue for all these old mecha robots, I have to say it looks really good, very detailed. And if you guys have built the previous old Mazingers and Grandazers that released under this line, you will know that even though it's 1/4 scale, the size of the actual kit itself is actually almost slightly taller than a 1/100 scale master grade. So if you guys are a big fan of the old retro mecha kits, this is something that you probably want to get. I'm actually quite keen and curious to actually build that kit itself. But I think this is probably one of the hottest kit that everybody's talking about, and this is the Figurized Standard Amplified Imperial Dramon. I'm not a big Digimon fan, so I don't exactly know much about this final form. If I'm not mistaken, it's final form. But the price, wow, almost 5,000 yen. And I think if you guys like the amplified design language that Bandai has decided to push onto the entire Digimon series, I think it's probably gonna be quite a badass looking kit. The only thing that you probably will need to paint over the yellow parts into metallic finishing gold, so that is something that I will actually go for. The one release that I was actually personally quite excited about is the Figurized Standard Kamen Rider Hibiki. I know Hibiki is one of the least popular Kamen Rider series ever, right? If you guys have watched the series, you would be quite disappointed, not because of how bad this character was or the henshin sequence, but the show had so much potential because it is one of the first Kamen Rider series that has nothing to do with the Kamen Rider franchise at all, right? It has nothing to do with anybody riding a motorbike, it has nothing to do with aliens, but it's an entire series about Onis fighting ghosts and demons, and it was just so promising from the onset when we heard the entire franchise of what it's all about. But unfortunately, because of the change of direction and storylines and directors, the entire series just went down the drain. But fans like me, really stuck on with the series, and we really love the entire design language and philosophy of the entire Kamen Rider Hibiki series. And if the design language is carried forward into this model kit, if you look closely, you will see that they actually have the very special coating finishing on the Kamen Rider Hibiki itself. So hitting different light at different angle, it will turn either as a dark blue or a dark purple. So that was one of the key appeal of this suit for Kamen Rider Hibiki. The price is also a little bit more expensive than the typical Figurized Standard as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the kit actually turns out. And as with the Evangelion line, Bandai is pushing through. We are getting all the separate designs of the Evangelion kits as well, and the price is also becoming a lot more expensive as with each release. So real great kits have now started to become almost the same price as master grade kits 5 to 10 years ago. So that's something that I find is a quite interesting development. As the kit gets better, more detailed, more complex, the price has also gone up together with the kit as well. So if you guys are a big fan of Evangelion, do let me know if you're actually buying that kit. This one release really caught me by surprise, and this is the Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer Tanjiro Kamado, right? This guy is coming out February 2021. What is surprising is two things. One is the price, going at 2,000 plus yen. This is a model kit, but it does not have any articulation, so it's a fixed pose, just like the earlier entry grade Ultraman that we have reviewed not too long ago. It does have excellent part separation, to be very frank. It doesn't seem like a real entry grade kit, but the second thing that caught me by surprise was this is actually a premium Bandai release. So it's kind of strange that Bandai is deciding to release this guy, the main hero character for the series, as a premium Bandai release, and especially this guy with no articulation, and it costs about 2,800 plus yen. So I'll be surprised to see who will actually pick this up. So please prove me wrong, but I will actually wait for the Figurized Standard Demon Slayer series from Bandai instead. I'll give that a miss, right? The one that is the most expensive release, actually not the most expensive, the second most expensive release this week is the Metal Robot Soul Providence Gundam. Coming in March 2021, 1,600-500 yen. I have always loved the Providence Gundam design language, but I don't know why for the life of me until today I have yet to actually buy the model kit myself. Maybe I'm holding out for a version car design, who knows, right? Maybe there will be a version Katoki of the Providence Gundam in the near future, but the Master Grade Providence Gundam is definitely in my to buy list. But for now, if you guys are, big fan or collector of the Metal Robot Soul series, this is probably right up your alley. Again, this is a premium bundle exclusive, and I really dig the metallic pipes right under the chest. So is that something new, or I do recall seeing this design before in the Providence Gundam? So this is something that I'm actually quite excited about, but probably I'll just stick with the Master Grade kit design. Now, something not Gunpla, but this is one product that I've always been interested in, and this is the folding container series. So now they are releasing under premium bundle again, unfortunately, a folding series for the white base. There will be the green Zaku and also Char Zaku color variation as well. It is quite surprising that you don't see this kind of folding container cases pretty anywhere outside of Japan for some strange reason. So if I'm not mistaken, they also used to have the Ultraman series and some other manga series as well. So I actually am quite keen to buy this and stacking them up, but at 8,800 yen per box, it is quite pricey. But if I ever get a chance to secure one, I will probably buy one to have in my house. It's actually quite sturdy and heavy before, so I actually used to have seen one of my friends that has a Ultraman version of this folding container. For me, I think the Charles Zaku version, Charles Annabelle version, the all red container definitely looks a lot better. So that's all the new releases this week. As you can see, there are a lot of new kits coming out, not only for Gunpla but also for Eva, Demon Slayer. My personal interest is actually in the Kamen Rider Hibiki that's coming out very, very soon. So which kit are you guys interested in? Do let me know in the comment section down below. This is the Zaku 2 DX and the RX78-2 DX. This is actually released back in 2018, and I actually did a video on this, but I never thought I would actually get my hands on these two very cool classic Sofubi. So they are based on the original design. They are meant to be as true and as accurate as what you've seen in the anime as possible. So it's not meant to be a Gunpla kit, but it's rather a DX toy of the Zaku 2 and the RX78-2. So BP actually bought this, and we'll first unbox the Zaku 2 and see how it looks like. Yeah, it's actually quite hefty. That's the biggest surprise that I have for this kit now. Ooh, okay, so what do you get? Wow. Look at that. Let me take out the plastic wrapper because I was actually expecting this to be a hollow Sofubi, right? It's actually a sticker for the mono eye, but surprisingly it has a matte finishing just like any other Sofubi, but it actually feels kind of hefty, surprisingly, right? Not a lot of detail. Like I said, it is meant to be anime accurate. It does come with the bazooka rifle. Very cool. And in case you're wondering about the height, standing next to side by side with a Master Grade RX78-2, same height. It's actually pretty big, not too bad. Okay, now let's look at the granddaddy itself. Okay, wow, I think I really like this guy already. Anime accurate. Look at the long face of the granddaddy, but at least they got the colors right. It really does look like this comes up from the anime. Of course, this being a DX toy, somewhat like a candy toy, the color and the finishing is not great, but the color itself is reproduced quite close to what we have seen and known from the anime. Look at the shield, very cool. Okay, the proportions, as I mentioned as well, is just like the anime. So Big Pete, will you actually panel line this, or will you keep this as true as possible?
I think I will try to panel line it and see how it is. If not, then I will just erase the panel line and leave it as it is. The colors are very close to the MG here. Spray
Yeah.
painted, right?
So as you can see here, this is my 1-year war version of the Master Grade Granddaddy, and this is the anime version. The proportions definitely looks a lot slimmer compared to the Master Grade, right? And as I mentioned just now, this RX78-2 together with the Zaku 2 as well, it is actually not a hollow vinyl. This is actually released in 2018. They're actually quite hefty. So it actually has quite nice weight onto it, and it actually is quite a nice addition to display next to your Gunpla or Gundam collection. You know, something that looks very classic, very retro. It's kind of a nice refreshing break from seeing all the new modern design kits
why
that
I
we've
bought
seen.
it.
Yeah, and that's why Big Pete bought this. And these are probably not something that you see often, and that's why we are featuring on our channel. But if you guys do come across the DX Granddaddy RX78-2, I know you guys hate me saying Granddaddy, but that's a term I like to use for this guy and the Zaku 2. Even the packaging itself really looks like something out from the early 80s, right? So they retain that very cool retro packaging style of the two Sofubi. Highly recommend this. They are going for less than 25 or 30 US dollars each, but you know, this was released way back in 2018, so if you do find them in the market, I will highly recommend getting this. Very nice way into it. So this is the review of the RX78-2 and Zaku 2 DX. This is our review of the PlayStation 1 from the Best Hit Chronicle series. It's an exact replica of the PlayStation 1 but in 2/5 scale. And Big Pete actually bought this kit and built it, and he's going to share his experience with us. So Big Pete, in terms of the details and runners, share with us your experience of this PlayStation 1.
I really love this kit. It's just exactly as the real thing. I do still have the PS1 at home.
Wow, okay. That's very cool.
So for detailing, I would say it's really cool because it features from the motherboard to the the CD lens, the parts,
And the shell itself, right?
and the shell itself.
So-
I used to dismantle my PS1 when I want to clean the internal parts with to clear off all the dust. I would say this brings back a lot of memories.
So if you were to take apart an original PlayStation 1 and put it side by side with this 2/5 scale PS1 from Bandai, would it be an exact replica?
I would say it is. Even
Wow.
the color is as close as to the actual thing.
Oh, yeah, there's the special grey color that is
Yes.
unique to the PlayStation 1.
Yep.
So what about details and the build experience?
Build experience is rather simple, easy to build. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of parts to that detail because there's still a lot of things like the chips and those electronic parts are already molded into some of it. I mean, as one of the parts. So it's rather simple and easy to build. I think you don't want to stress the builders out by thinking about what microchips put into what which part and all those things.
Yeah, I suppose if you are a hardcore PlayStation fan and you want to have an exact detail of the entire capacitor, the soldering colors of the motherboard,
Yes.
I think you'll probably be, going crazy over every single detail. But I think for regular builders, you can just build it and just put it into the casing and the shell of the PS1. But then again, it really depends on whether you want to display this as open concept or as a already built PS1 concept.
Yeah, one of the so-called downside is the cover it's not a spring-loaded cover.
Oh man.
So it just pops out a bit on the once you press the button, you have to open up manually.
I see. So I think can be a simple mod. I suppose some people will probably mod it.
It's simple
Yes.
to actually do a spring-loaded
Okay.
parts on it.
So what about part separation? I think part separation wise, as you mentioned, there aren't a lot of runners. but looks like, as you mentioned, it is quite a detailed one-to-one scale of the PS1.
Yes, the part separation, basically they feature the most important parts like the on-off button, the open, the CD cover where you press and it opens up, to the CD lens, and also the most memorable ones is the memory card slot. So once you put the memory card slot, it has actually a working flap, right? The flap will come down if you pull out the memory card, when you put it in, it goes in. Another details is actually behind the machine. You know, you remember where you plug in your AV cables.
Wow.
Yeah, the power sockets. Yeah, those are the, I would say, the very nice details.
Do they actually come with the power cable and the AV cable for you to plug in, or is just
No,
the...
it's just the only cable that attached to the machine is the ones that from the machine to the joypad.
I see, okay. I'm sure, I think the most important thing is not only building the kit itself. I'm sure that the most important thing is when you're building the PS1, what kind of memory came back to you? You must have those long marathon sessions when you were playing the PS1, right?
Yes, so the machine now, it comes in a smaller scale, it's on your hands, and it's a very good display unit on the shelves.
Okay, so have you ever taken apart your PS1 before?
Yeah, I mentioned I take it apart
Oh, yeah, you
to
did,
dust the so-called, to dust the boards and things like that.
Now, what about the stickers? How are the stickers like?
Stickers are very minimum. The one on the memory card, the one on the cover, the PS logo, and another one is on the CD. So you have one of the most memorable PS1 is the black disc. Yeah, so they give you actually the black decal to put on a disc.
Oh, okay. I never had a PS1, so I wouldn't know. Now, this is, I think, probably the most weighted question by all the people watching this. What are your top 3 favorite games on the PS1? You know, because I never had a PS1. I jumped straight into PS2. But I would love to hear from you. What is your top PS1 games?
Yeah, PS1 was the most revolution game console after the 8 bits.
After the
16
Nintendo
bits.
64. Nintendo 64,
64,
right? Yeah.
and then after that, that's the PS1. So my most memorable game, top 3 games, is Resident Evil.
Is that the first Resident Evil?
Yes.
Okay.
So
The one that started the
most
entire
scary.
genre. Okay.
Yes, the most scariest one, the longest game that you need to play, that one of the hardest challenge as well. Second is Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid is one of my all-time favorite game. I have
Yes.
played from Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, I missed out 4 and 5. I'm playing them right now, but
Yeah.
I wish they would actually make a remake of the first Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, the first one is where you have the, you know how when they discover you, that unique iconic sound, right? So Metal Gear Solid was also another revolutionary game that started everything from there. The best fighting games I played on PS1 was Tekken 3.
Yeah,
Yes,
Tekken. I think
the
Tekken
fighting
is...
games also is the best, but not to forget those racing games. There's a lot of games in PS1 that everybody has played, but the most memorable ones was these are my top 3 list.
Okay, so I think obviously the most important question right now for some of you, it would be, would this be a good buy? I think it really depends on if you actually grown up with the PS1 like Big Pete here, right? So
Yes.
for me, I definitely missed PS1 because I couldn't afford it when it first came out. I actually went straight into PS2. But I'm sure for those of you who are video game enthusiasts who wanted to collect something unique like this and actually build the kit itself, would this be a good buy for video game fans?
I think it does, because the best hit Chronicle company came out not only the PS1, the Sega Saturn. We're gonna review that in our another video. But I would say if they keep on producing all those iconic consoles, it's a series that you can collect and put it on a shelf. Right? That's very cool.
I will probably buy the PS2, the Dreamcast, and the PS3 if they ever release those consoles as a model kit. So in terms of verdict rating from a 1 to 10, 1 being poor and 10 being the best, what would be your rating be for a Pla model kit? Because this is actually a very unique model kit, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you buy this, how would you display this? I mean, for a SHF figure, you wouldn't be able to actually pose it next to it. So
Yeah, it's a unique console. I would say it's an iconic product. You can put it on display. It's a centerpiece of everyone who comes to your house, and they will look at it and they will talk about it.
okay.
I would give it a solid 8. Why 8, not 10? Because I would prefer it to be more parts, more details. I mean, I'm a Gunpla builder, so there's a lot of details in Gunpla. I was wishing that this would be on that level of difficulty.
I'm sure that some of you, when you look at the memory slot, some of you will probably have some nightmares of where your memory card got corrupted. I heard a
Yes.
lot of stories on YouTube and on the internet then and there. So I hope you guys who have a PS1 had corrupted memory card before don't have the repeated nightmares when you're building this.
This is just a model kit, right? So I think you will enjoy building it and looking at it.
Yeah. So actually, there's one question that I was actually having, right? Would it actually be possible to actually use the PlayStation shell case from this Gunpla kit and actually put in the Raspberry Pi system inside and play a modded PS1
I think
kit?
someone would be crazy enough to do this. It will work, right?
Okay, very cool, very cool. So, okay, that's our review for the PlayStation 1. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave your comment down below. If you have any questions on the kit itself, please leave a comment. Big Pete will try his best to answer all of the questions.
Yeah, go buy it.